In Greece, one of the well-known kingdom, the kingdom of Thebes, the queen and a king of the Thebes, Jocasta and Louis had a young baby boy as heir. But Louis got a prophecy from Apollo's temple, not a suspicious oracle. The son of his will kill him and marry his own mother. Horrified at this prophecy of patricide, the parents decided to abandon the baby. Louis ordered the servant to leave the young infant in the Mount Citherion, and letting nature decided whether the baby survived or not. While its feet were pierced by pins and knotted by the rope as hung upside down on the butt of tree. As it cried loudly, the servant could not abandon the baby as he took the baby from the tree and handed to the shepherd who was passing by with his flocks of lambs. The shepherd took the baby, untied its feet, treated its wound, baptized and named it Oedipus, which means the one with swollen feet. However, the shepherd was extremely poor and decided to bring the baby to the king of Corinth, named Polybus. Polybus and his wife, though they couldn't have one, they adopted Oedipus as their heir and only son. Oedipus reached adulthood and became a strong bachelor prince who grew up with love. However, during a celebration, one drunk nobleman called him unworthy to the throne because he was a foreigner. He asked Polybus if it's true, and he dodged the question. Oedipus decided to go to the oracle of Delphi to learn the truth. But he was told about the horrifying prophecy about killing his father and marrying his mother. He resolved to never return to Corinth because he loved his parents so much. Yet still he didn't know the king and queen of Corinth were not his biological parents because the oracle didn't told him the truth. On the road, Oedipus got into a violent spat with another travelers, who were Louis and his soldiers. They pushed and provoked a quarrel to Oedipus. He killed them in the fight, yet the one escaped. He continued his journey without knowing he just killed his own biological father.
And now Oedipus came to Thebes. There the people were mourning for their king, who had been killed by robbers. They were also terrorized by a Sphinx, a monster which mixed by woman and lion features, and who also put riddle to all passerby and devoured those who could not answer. Then Creon, the brother-in-law of Thebes, offered the former dead king of reward for whoever will be able to defeat and slaughter the Sphinx. The victor will be the next king of Thebes and can marry the beautiful queen Jocasta. Oedipus decided to solve the problem and went to the Sphinx. When Oedipus faced the Sphinx, he was given a clever puzzle or riddle. The Sphinx asked,
"Who makes on 4 of it in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 at night?"
Oedipus answered,
Man, as an infant, he crawls on 4s. As an adult, he walks on 2 legs. And in old age, he uses a walking stick.
Sphinx was shocked and ashamed that the mortal answered her question. Feeling of shamefulness, the Sphinx threw herself to the cliff and killed herself. Returning to the palace, Oedipus showed his sympathy to Jocasta, the queen of Thebes, who had lost her husband. However, Oedipus succeeded in reading the Sphinx had given a right to marry Jocasta as a Theban prize, so that Oedipus had just married his own biological mother without knowing it despite of becoming the king of Thebes. Oedipus and Jocasta had 4 children together, 2 daughters whose names were Antigone and Ismene, and 2 sons whose names were Eteocles and Polynices. They're having a peaceful life despite of incoming disaster.
Oedipus was respected since a righteous and benevolent king despite having flaws. One day, the kingdom of Thebes we are ravaged by the unknown plague and many people died. In desperate, the population reached to their king Oedipus. They begged to him to save the kingdom of Thebes again. As a king, he asked his friend and brother-in-law, Creon, to go to the oracle of Delphi to find the root of this misfortune. Creon returned from Delphi and told Oedipus to search and exile the vile criminal so that the land of Thebes will be purified. Oedipus assumed that might be connected to the former king Laos' death. He ordered the search to the vile criminal, and whoever found the identity of the murderer will be rewarded. Also, he told he would like to know the murderer if willing to surrender. He will be not executed and only exiled from the what Oracle told. Most of all, he will never be biased. Creon told Oedipus, there's a blind prophet named Darius. He could help about it. Oedipus agreed and summoned the old prophet to his palace. Darius asked first refused to speak when he asked, but finally accused Oedipus himself to killing Laus. He mocked and rejected the prophet and ordered him to leave, but not before hints darkly of incestuous marriage and future of blindness. Oedipus even accused Creon on treason and planned it with Darius, which made Creon disappointed to him and let him that he didn't need to throne. Jocasta came to calm Oedipus' temper, and she told him that Laus should be killed by his own son, but didn't happen since the baby died, telling him the oracle never happened, or she thought.
On that time, a messenger from the kingdom of Corinth and told him about his father, Oedipus' death, and asking to return to Corinth and take the throne as the king of Corinth. Oedipus saddened about the news, yet delighted that the oracle given to him from Delphi didn't happen, the oracle of killing his own father and burying his own mother. And the messenger told him he was adopted, and Oedipus asked why he knew such a secrecy. As the messenger answered,
Because I was the one who handed you to them. You were handed to me when I was crossing within this land with my flocks, as you had your feet pierced.
Upon hearing the messenger said, Jocasta felt something gut-wrenching twist once she heard that. Oedipus insisted him to help him finding the one who handed him, and Jocasta tried to stop him. But Oedipus firmly wanted to know the truth. Jocasta couldn't help but cry, felt desolated, and she ran back inside of the royal's room. As she locked herself, Oedipus couldn't understand her reaction and unknown reasons. Then an old servant of Lawis came and saw Oedipus with the messenger, and he bailed. The messenger of Corinth pointed the old servant that he was the one who handed baby Oedipus in the past. The old servant first declined all accusations but eventually told the whole truth, or he will be beheaded. Every details of truth, like a lightning strike, Oedipus realized a revelation shadowed him and prophecy had been fulfilled. His world turned upside down and he went immediately to the royal's room. He called out to Jocasta and talked to her, but nothing happened. He forced down the door and found Jocasta killed herself by hanging with a rope around her neck. Oedipus laid her dead body and used one of her brooch's pin's needles as he pierced his own eyes as a punishment. He exiled himself and handed the throne to Creon until his children reached adulthood to reign the kingdom. He was accompanied by his daughter Antigone. He thought after being hated by gods and now forgiven from his sins symbolizes of Antigone's presence.